The rain doesn't just fall in this city, it punishes. It hammers against the floor-to-ceiling reinforced glass of the penthouse like handfuls of gravel thrown by an angry alcoholic god. Down below, 30 stories into the abyss, the streets are drowning in a slurry of oil, trash, and regret. But up here, in the stratosphere of the 1%, the air is dry, filtered, and smells of money. Specifically, it smells of beeswax polish, seared animal flesh, and Chanel No. 5, a trifecta of domestic bliss. Yet beneath the expensive veneer, my nostrils flare. I catch a scent that doesn't belong. Something faint, sharp, and metallic, like the air after a transformer blows. Ozone. Storm warning. Or maybe it's just the neurons in my scrambled brain misfiring again. Anne sits across from me. The candlelight flickers, reflecting in the pool of Cabernet in my glass, thick, dark, and viscous as venous blood. "To us, Vic," she says, 10 years. Her voice is velvet dragged over sandpaper, smoky, intimate, and utterly reassuring. In a world that constantly shifts and melts around the edges, that voice is my only true north. It's the anchor that keeps me from drifting into the void. I look up at her. My eyes work perfectly fine, 20/20 vision, better than average night sight. But my brain is a broken circuit board. It refuses to solve the puzzle of human features. Instead of a face, I see a beige, shapeless blur framed by cascading chestnut waves. Prosopagnosia, face blindness. That's the sanitized medical term the VA doctors used. They called it severe concussion aftermath from a car wreck I can barely remember. I call it a curse, or maybe a blessing. When you work in construction, maybe it's better not to see the eyes of the men you fire. Or maybe, deep down, I just don't want to see what people really look like. The blur is safer. It hides the lies. But I know Anne by heart. I have memorized the topography of her existence. I know the tiny mole on her left collarbone. I can see it pulsing now as she swallows her wine, a rhythmic movement of life. I know the delicate, brittle structure of her wrists, and the scent, vanilla, old leather, and something else tonight. Tobacco? I freeze for a microsecond. It's faint, buried under the Chanel, but it's there. Sweet, heavy, expensive cherry pipe tobacco. That's wrong. The data doesn't fit the model. Anne hates smoke. She coughs if we walk past a smoker on the street. Did she share an elevator with some old money executive?
Paranoia tickles the base of my skull. I drown it with a gulp of wine. "You're quiet tonight," she says. The beige blur tilts to the left, her habit when she's analyzing me. "Just listening to the rain? Sounds like the city's trying to wash itself clean." "It would take a flood, not a storm, to clean this place," she replies, a hint of steel in her voice. "You always listen to the wrong things, Vic. Stop brooding. Open your gift." I reach for the velvet box on the marble table. My fingers scan the texture automatically. Smooth, plush, expensive. Inside implies density, weight. I snap the lid open. A watch, heavy, brushed steel, Swiss mechanics. Not a digital toy, but a machine of gears and springs. Even through the drumming of the storm against the glass, I can hear the movement. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Cold, rhythmic, unfeeling, like a sniper's heartbeat before the squeeze. "Thank you, Anne. It's beautiful." I slide my gift across the table. A silver bracelet, delicate like her. The engraving on the inside reads, "In the dark, only your voice." She slips it on. The metal chimes against the table edge. Clink. It's a perfect scene, a picture from a glossy magazine for happy, lobotomized idiots. Architect Victor Moore and his lovely wife, the American dream perched high above the sewage of the streets. I look down at my plate, a slab of prime rib, medium rare. I pick up the knife. The serrated edge glides through the fibers, parting the meat with surgical ease. Red juice, myoglobin they call it, but it looks like blood, pools on the stark white ceramic. My hand tightens on the handle, just a fraction too much. My knuckles turn white. My index finger extends along the spine of the blade, stabilizing the point. Stop! I freeze. That isn't how an architect holds a dinner knife. That isn't how a civilian holds a tool. That is the grip of a man who knows exactly how to slide 5 inches of high-carbon steel between the third and fourth rib without chipping the bone. That is a grip designed to sever the aorta. I force my fingers to relax, trembling slightly. Breathe, Vic. That part of you, whatever darkness caused the crash 10 years ago, is dead. You build houses now. You frame windows. You don't destroy lives. Vic? Her voice spikes with genuine worry, or a perfect simulation of it. Are you okay? I'm fine, I lie, staring at the bleeding meat. Just a bit of gristle. Lost my appetite. It happens between bites. A sound slices through the smooth jazz playing on the vintage turntable. A sound that has no business existing in this decade, in this apartment. Ring, ring. The harsh, mechanical, bone-jarring trill of a landline. The dusty phone sits on a side table in the hallway, a beige plastic relic we kept only because the DSL connection required a dedicated line. Nobody has that number. Nobody. Not the office, not the doctors, not the pizza place. The ring comes again, long, demanding, like a scream in a church. The John Coltrane sax solo suddenly sounds like a mockery, a frantic, chaotic noise. Anne freezes. The fork stops halfway to her mouth. The beige blur of her face turns toward me. Who the hell could that be, at this hour? Wrong number, I say. My voice is steady, but my body is betraying me. My pulse is hammering against my temples. Thump, thump, thump. The adrenaline dumps into my system, sour and electric. I stand up. The floor feels unsteady, rolling like the deck of a ship in a gale. I walk to the hallway. The distance feels infinite. The phone screams a third time. I lift the receiver. The plastic feels greasy. Hello? Silence. Dead air. The kind of silence that has weight. Then, a sound like dry autumn leaves skittering on asphalt. Static, breathing. And then, a voice. Not human. Distorted, synthesized, run through a vocoder until it sounds like a demon speaking through a fan. Contract 49 reactivated. Asset in perimeter. Clock is ticking cleaner. Click. The line goes dead. Something inside me snaps, loudly, like a dry twig. Architect Victor Moore vanishes. He dissolves into smoke. In his place, a different man steps forward. A man who doesn't feel fear, only calculation. A man who lived in the shadows before the accident. 49, my old call sign, the number they gave me before I had a name. Anne, I say. My voice has dropped an octave. It's gravel and ice. What? Vic, who was it? You look pale. Get on the floor. Excuse me? Floor, now. The universe splits open. The power to the building cuts. The entire block plunges into a heavy, suffocating darkness. Only the strobe light flashes of lightning reveal the sharp geometry of the room in bursts of blue-white terror. I hear them. My eyes are useless in the pitch black, but my ears are radar dishes. Out in the corridor, beyond the reinforced oak door, which I installed myself, paranoid bastard that I am, there is a sound, faint, metallic, snick.
Not a light switch. That is the sound of a boat carrier group being eased forward, slow and careful to avoid the clack. But they overoiled it. The lubricant squelches just a tiny bit. Amateurs. Or professionals in a hurry. Lightning splits the sky again. For a split second, the room is bathed in corpse-white light. I see Anne. She's standing by the table in her white silk dress, looking confused, fragile. And on her chest, right where her heart beats, a small, trembling red laser dot. I don't think. Thinking is slow, reflex is instant. I launch myself across the table, scattering the crystal wine glasses. I tackle Anne with the force of a linebacker. We hit the parquet floor hard. Boom! The gunshot from outside is muffled by the window storms, but the glass explodes inward. It doesn't break, it disintegrates. The high-velocity round rips through the empty space where her head was a microsecond ago, obliterating the wine bottle. A mist of Cabernet and glass shards sprays over us. "Crawl to the bathroom," I scream into her ear, spitting hair out of my mouth. "Lock the door, get in the tub, keep your head down." "Vic, what's happening? Move!" I roll away, scrambling on all fours behind the marble kitchen island just as the front door disintegrates. Kaboom! Breaching charge. The shockwave punches my eardrums, a physical slap to the side of the head. I open my mouth to equalize the pressure, an old reflex I didn't know I had until this moment. Dust and smoke fill the room. 3 of them. I hear 3 distinct sets of footsteps entering my sanctuary. Target 1, heavy, stomping, steel-toed combat boots, the point man, aggressive, stupid. Target 2, sliding, soft rubber soles, sneakers, the flanker, fast. Target 3, hanging back in the hall, rear guard, control. The smell hits me, burnt cordite, acrid and sulfurous. It mixes with Anne's spilled perfume and the wet dog stench of rain-soaked tactical gear. "Clear right," whispers one, young voice, tight throat. He's nervous. Good. Nervous men make mistakes. Green laser beams slice through the dust-choked air like lightsabers, hunting for flesh. My hand sweeps the floor. It finds the steak knife. The point man walks past the island. I hear the coarse nylon of his vest rubbing against his uniform. Swish, swish. He's breathing through his mouth. I can hear the whistle of air in his nose. Adrenaline or asthma, doesn't matter. He's loud. I surge out of the darkness.
This isn't a movie fight. There is no choreography. There is only violence. I drive the steak knife upward into the soft spot of the armpit, bypassing the heavy ceramic plate of his vest. I twist. The blade severs the axillary artery. He gurgles, a wet, bubbling sound. Hot fluid sprays my face, tasting of copper and salt. Blood. He tries to scream, but I clamp a hand over his mouth and rip the pistol from his drop-leg holster, a Glock 17, modified grip. I shove his dying, spasming body toward the second man. "Contact front!" screams the flanker. A burst of automatic fire chews up the expensive marble countertop above my head. Stone chips slice my cheek like razors. I drop to my back, ignoring the glass cutting into my skin, and fire at the sound of the voice. Pop, pop. Double tap, controlled. A wet thud, the sound of a rifle clattering to the floor, then the distinct sound of a body convulsing in death throes. Silence. No, not silence. The third one. The rear guard. He's still in the hall. He's smart. He didn't rush in. He's waiting for me to peek. I unclip a flashbang grenade from the dead point man's vest. Cold metal ring. I know exactly how much it weighs. "Vic?" Anne's voice trembles from the bathroom. She sounds small. "Cover your ears and open your mouth," I hiss. I pull the pin, count to 2, toss it into the hallway, banking it off the wall like a billiard ball. Clink, bounce. I squeeze my eyes shut and cover my ears with my palms. Bang! Even through my eyelids, the flash is blinding white. The concussion shakes the floorboards. A scream from the hallway. He's blind. He's deaf. He's dead. I step out. He's firing blindly, panic spraying bullets into the ceiling plaster. I walk right up to him. I can't see his face, just a blur in a helmet, but I see his hand shaking uncontrollably. 2 shots to the chest. The vest catches him. He grunts. I adjust aim. 1 to the head. The blur stops moving. The body drops like a sack of cement. I kick the bathroom door open.
Anne is huddled in the porcelain tub, knees to chest, shivering. Her white dress is stained with red wine, or maybe it's the blood of the men in the living room. Get up, we're burning daylight. You killed him. It's not a question, it's an accusation. Her eyes are wide, staring at the gun in my hand.
I took out the trash, I say, surprised by how cold my own voice sounds. Move, now. We scramble up the fire escape. The iron stairs are slick with rain and algae. The wind is a physical force, a giant hand trying to peel us off the side of the building. 10th floor. We couldn't take the elevator. It's a coffin. The courtyard below is washed in blue and red lights. Sirens wail in the distance. They've locked down the exits. To the roof, I command, dragging her by the wrist. It's a dead end, Anne gasps, her lungs heaving. Vic, stop! There's a maintenance bridge to the office complex. I designed this damn building. I know every bolt. We hit the roof. The gale nearly knocks us over. The rain feels like needles now. Between our residential tower and the office block, there's a 15-foot drop into an alleyway of darkness. A narrow, rusted I-beam connects the two. It's wet. It's swaying. I can't. Anne backs away, shaking her head. I can't do it. You cross or you die here. Those are the options. Pick one. Behind us, the heavy metal stairwell door bangs open. More guests. I shove Anne toward the beam. Don't look down. Look at my back. Crawl if you have to. I spin around, dropping the one knee, aiming at the roof access hatch. 3 rounds left in the mag. I count them subconsciously. 1, 2, 3. Anne is halfway across. Her dress whips in the wind like a surrender flag. A head pops up from the hatch. Tactical goggles like black insect eyes. I fire. Bang! Miss. My hand is shaking from the cold and the adrenaline dump. He returns fire. A bullet grazes my shoulder. It feels like being touched by a red-hot branding iron. The flesh sears. I dive behind a massive ventilation unit. Second shot, click. Misfire. Cheap ammunition. I curse the dead man I stole it from. 1 round left. The merc climbs out, boots crunching on the gravel roof. Crunch, crunch. He's confident. He thinks he has me pinned. He can't see me behind the vent. I close my eyes. I don't need sight. I need the geometry of sound. He shifts his weight. I hear the synthetic fabric of his pants rustle. I hear the slight intake of breath as he raises his rifle. Now. I pop up and fire at the source of the sound. The bullet catches him in the throat, just above the vest collar. A wet, gurgling noise. He falls backward, tumbling down into the open hatch, knocking over the men climbing behind him like bowling pins. I turn and sprint for the beam. No fear, just cold calculation. Physics, friction, balance. Step, step, jump. I land on the wet concrete of the adjacent roof, rolling to absorb the impact. My shoulder screams in agony. Anne is there, shivering violently, clutching her arms. We descend the fire escape into an alleyway choked with dumpsters. It smells of rotting garbage, urine, and rain. But it's dark, and dark is safe. I slump against a brick wall, sliding down until I hit the wet pavement. My shoulder is throbbing with a dull, sickening heat. Anne stands with her back to me, watching the street entrance. Her shoulders are shaking. Crying, of course. Her husband is a butcher. Her home is a slaughterhouse. I'm sorry, I wheeze, pressing a hand to my wound. Anne, listen, I can explain. She doesn't turn. I'm not who I said I was. I don't remember who I was before, but I love you. That's real. We'll get out of this. I try to stand, to comfort her, to offer a bloody hand. Anne turns slowly. In the gloom of the alley, I can't read her expression, still that damn beige blur. But I see her hands, and what I see freezes the blood in my veins, colder than the rain ever could. She's holding a pistol, not my Glock, a Beretta 92. She must have swiped it from the Merc on the roof while I was bleeding out. A housewife who screams at spiders should hold a gun like a dead rat, with 2 fingers, terrified, pointing it at the ground. Anne holds it perfectly. Isosceles stance, feet shoulder-width apart, elbows locked but not stiff, shoulders rolled forward to absorb recoil. Click.
Her thumb flicks the safety off, a motion so practiced, so mechanical, it screams of 10,000 repetitions at a firing range. She racks the slide, clack, clack. She isn't shaking anymore. Her breathing is steady, rhythmically perfect, much steadier than mine. The world tilts on its axis. The vertigo returns. I look at the woman I've shared a bed with for a decade, the woman who bakes blueberry pies, the woman who knits scarves. Anne, my voice sounds pathetic, weak. She raises the gun, not at me, but scanning the alley entrance, checking her sectors. Clear left, clear right. She turns her head to me. The voice I hear isn't my wife's. It lacks warmth. It has the cold, hard ring of steel. "You're out of breath, Vic," she says flatly, no emotion. "And your aim is sloppy. You pulled to the left on that last shot. You used to be a lot cleaner." The alley holds a rusted 1998 Ford Taurus, a burner car. I smash the window with my elbow, ignoring the pain.
I hotwire it. Red wire, black wire, spark. Fingers dancing a familiar dance I didn't know I knew. The engine coughs, then roars to life, smelling of unburnt fuel. Anne gets in the passenger seat. She keeps the Beretta trained on my ribs. "Drive," she orders. "Who are you?" I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. "I'm your handler, Vic." The word hits harder than a bullet. Handler, not wife, not lover, keeper, warden. I peel out onto the wet street, the tires screaming. 10 years, I whisper. 10 years of breakfast, vacations, love. That was a job, a gig? "It was a shift," she says, checking the side mirror. "The longest, most boring shift of my career. Do you know how hard it is to pretend to like your cooking?" "You work for the syndicate." Bingo. 10 years ago, Victor Moore, the organization's top cleaner, got into a wreck after stealing the common fund, $50 million in bearer bonds. You survived, but your brain was scrambled. Total retrograde amnesia. She pauses, lighting a cigarette. The smell fills the car, that same cherry tobacco I smelled earlier. "We couldn't torture you. You'd have died with the secret. So we built a cage, a nice life, a loving wife. We waited for a trigger to bring your memory back. Tonight, the boss got impatient. He decided to scare it out of you. And look, it worked. You remembered how to kill in 10 seconds flat, which means you remember where the money is." "Where are we going?" My voice is hollow. I feel like I've been gutted. Coordinates flash in my mind, burnt into my cortex like a brand. "Burnt chemical plant, District 4, Sector 9. I say it, and I realize I do know this place. I can smell the rust and the chemical waste. I can see the layout in my mind. The industrial district is a graveyard of steel and concrete. We park inside the skeletal remains of Warehouse 4. Anne marches me to the back wall, gun pressed to my spine. "Open it." I shove aside a heavy metal plate. My shoulder burns, but I ignore it. Beneath the plate lies a concrete well. I shine the flashlight down. Empty. Just dirty water, sludge, and the skeletal remains of a rat. "It's empty," I say, confusion clouding my mind. "I swear I remember putting the bags here. I can feel the weight of them." Click. The hammer of her gun cocks behind my head. "I knew it," she says. No disappointment, just boredom. "There was never any money, Vic." "What?"
You didn't steal it. You were the decoy, the distraction so the real thief could vanish. You've been leading us in circles for a decade, and you didn't even know it. You're a loose end." Suddenly, floodlights blaze to life from the catwalks above. Blinded, I raise my hands. "Drop the weapon!" a voice booms from a megaphone. Anne lowers her gun, but doesn't run. She waits. I'm pistol-whipped from behind, a massive blow to the base of my skull. The world goes black. I wake up tied to a heavy steel chair in a damp basement. The smell is atrocious, mold, old blood, and human waste. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of a cane hitting concrete.
A man steps into the circle of light. Expensive gray suit, three-piece, ruined by the filth of the floor. A silver-handled cane shaped like a wolf's head. The boss. He coughs, a wet, hacking, sickly sound, and takes a hit from an asthma inhaler. Pfft. The sharp, medicinal scent of albuterol fills the stagnant air. It cuts through the smell of rot. Anne stands next to him, dry and professional in a gray tactical jumpsuit. She looks at me like I'm a specimen in a jar. "Report," the boss wheezes. Subject's memory is flawed. He led us to a dead drop. He truly believes he is Victor Moore. The boss laughs, a dry rattle that ends in a spasm. He throws a folder onto my lap. It slides open. Photos. A burning jeep. A charred corpse. Teeth grinning from a blackened skull. "That is Victor Moore," the boss says. "He died 10 years ago. You are nobody." He leans in. I smell his expensive cologne masking the rot of his breath. "You were a cop, son. Lieutenant in organized crime. You got too close. We took you. We gave you Moore's face with plastic surgery. We scrambled your brains with electroshock and experimental drugs. We needed a puppet to flush out Moore's accomplices. We made you believe you were him." "Your face blindness," Anne adds, her voice dripping with clinical detachment. "It's not a concussion. It's your brain rejecting the lie. You don't see faces because you know, subconsciously, that everyone around you is fake, including yourself." The dam breaks. Memories flood back, not of killing for money, but of the badge, the oath, the family I left behind to go deep cover. My daughters laugh. I'm not a monster. I'm the law, and now the law is pissed off. "Finish him," the boss says, turning away, bored. "Bury him in the wet cement in the foundation."
He walks away, tapping his cane. Anne follows, checking her phone. A goon steps up, aiming a silencer at my forehead. He's smiling. He enjoys this. I don't panic. I calculate. My hands are zip-tied behind me. Plastic ties, strong but brittle if you have leverage. I dislocate my left thumb. Pop! The pain is blinding, white-hot, nauseating. I bite my tongue to keep from screaming, filling my mouth with blood. But the thumb folds in. I slip the hand free. I snatch the cane from the boss's hand as he passes me. I swing it with everything I have, not at the goon, but at the single light bulb hanging above. Smash! Pitch black. My world now, I whisper, spitting blood. Panic in the dark. Flashlights beam wildly, cutting through the dust. I move by sound alone. I am a ghost. Scuff of a boot. I swing the cane. It connects with a trachea, crushing cartilage. The goon drops, gagging, drowning in his own collapsed throat. I grab his falling submachine gun, an MP5, good German engineering. I don't need to see. I hear their breathing. I hear their heartbeats pounding like drums. Bert, Bert. Muzzle flashes strobe the room like a disco in hell. 3 men down, screams of pain, the smell of bowels releasing. Silence. I switch on a tactical light attached to the gun. The boss is cowering against the wall, clutching his chest. Anne stands beside him, frozen, hands raised. "Victor, wait, we can make a deal," the boss stammers, eyes bulging. "Money, millions!" Bang! Anne shoots the boss point blank in the head. He slides down the wall, leaving a smear of red and gray matter, a broken puppet. She drops her gun, turns to me. Her voice is suddenly trembling, full of tears, a masterpiece of acting. "Vic! Oh God, Vic! I had to do it! He forced me! I didn't know you were a cop! I fell in love with you for real! We can take his access codes! We can disappear! Just you and me! Please, baby! I saved you!" She steps closer, hugs me. I smell the vanilla, the sweat, the fear. And
I freeze. I smell it. Sharp, chemical, sweet, albuterol. It's not coming from the dead boss. The scent is coming from her skin, from her pocket. The realization hits me like a freight train. The boss didn't cough like a sick man. He coughed like a bad actor playing a role. But Anne, I've heard her wheeze in her sleep for years. I've seen her vitamins in the bathroom. The boss was the puppet. Anne is the puppeteer. She ran the show, all of it. I push her back gently. "What's wrong, honey?" she asks, smiling through her tears. The blur of her face looks almost clear for the first time. I think I see blue eyes, cold, dead blue eyes. "You made one mistake, Anne." "Oh, and what was that?" "The boss didn't have asthma. You do." The smile vanishes. The loving wife dissolves instantly. The shark surfaces. She moves faster than a human should. A switchblade appears in her hand from nowhere, aiming for my throat. But I'm ready. The cop in me is awake. The killer she trained is awake. I raise the MP5. Bang! One shot, center mass, right where the heart should be. She falls back into the mud. No final words, no kiss goodbye, just a thud. I stand over her. The rain is drumming on the tin roof of the warehouse, louder than ever. I walk out into the storm. The water washes the blood from my face, a face I haven't seen in 10 years, a face that isn't mine. It's a mask of scars. Sirens wail in the distance, my old friends or my new enemies. I don't know who I am anymore, but as I vanish into the shadows of the city, one thing is certain. I know what a lie sounds like, and for the first time in a decade, I'm finally awake. The city waits for me, and I have a lot of cleaning to do.